All right. So yesterday we found missing sides using trig, which in order to do that, you need at least one side and one angle. Now we're going to find the missing angle using trig. So as always, the first thing you need to do is label your three sides. So across from the 90 is my H. Across from the X is my O, opposite, and the other one is adjacent. Now, my adjacent side doesn't have a number with it, so I'm not using adjacent. I'm only using O and H. If you need a reminder, write your SOHCAHTOA over here. So O and H is sine. So sine of X equals 15 over 24. Now, the X is really stuck with sine. I can't divide by sine. Sine is not a number. You can't divide by it. So the only way that I can split those up and get the X by itself is by doing the inverse. So we are going to find, so X is going to be sine inverse of 15 over 24. So if you look in your calculator, right above the sine button, in blue, it says sine with a -1. So you're going to click second sine. So second, oh, I'm frozen. Come on. All right, second sine, and then just type 15 divided by 24. Again, make sure your calculator says degree at the top. If it doesn't say degree, you need to go to mode, and then go change it. And we get X equals 38.7 degrees. So number 2, label. This time I'm going to use cosine because I'm not using the O. That doesn't have a number with it. So A and H are cosine. So cosine of X equals 8 over 11. So that means that X is equal to the inverse, cosine inverse. And you should get 43.3 degrees. Number 3, across from the 90 is the H. Across from my X, my angle is the O, and the other one is the A. Not using H. So that leaves O and A, which has to be tangent. Tangent of X equals 20 over 37. So that means X is tangent inverse of 20 over 37. And you get 28.4. So I want you to try and get questions 4, 5, and 6. All right. So number 4, we use cosine and got 38.5 degrees. Number 5, you used sine. We got 77.3 degrees. And number 6 used tangent, and we got 54.5 degrees. Any questions? All right, so now we've got several questions, several review, just kind of a mix of questions. So a little bit of yesterday, a little bit of today. Both, either way, no matter what kind of question it is, you need to start by labeling your sides. H, across from the 90. Across from my angle that's marked, that's my O. And my other one is A. Hypotenuse, opposite, and adjacent. So for number 7, we're going to use, we have O and A. The H doesn't have anything written with it. So O and A is tangent. So tangent of 39, you always put your angle with your trig function. Trig, sine, cosine, tangent, it just goes hand in hand with your angle. They're pairs. And so O over A is 11 over X. And then remember, we put a 1 under this and we cross multiply. 11 times 1 is 11. And then when I multiply those two, I get X tangent of 39. And then to get X by itself, I need to divide both sides by tangent of 39. You should get 13.6. Looking at our picture, that makes sense. X would be about 13.6. If you got like 73, probably wouldn't be correct. All right, number 8. My H, my O, and my A. So this one, I'm going to ignore the O because I don't have anything written by it. Leaves me AH, which is cosine. Cosine of 46 equals X over 28. So we put a 1 there and we cross multiply. X times 1 is X. And so then when I multiply 28 cosine of 46, remember it's important to put the 28 in the front to avoid mistakes. And I got 19.5. I want you to try 9 through 12. So try those on your own. All right. So number 9, we were missing a side, and this one required tangent. So tangent of 51 equals 8 over X. And then when we cross multiply and solve to get X equals 6.5. And then number 10 required cosine, but we're missing the X. So when you're missing the angle. When you're missing an angle, cross multiplying isn't going to help you. Our goal is to be able to get the x by itself. So what we do is we take the inverse. And that gives us 50.5. And then 11 use tangent. Same thing with the inverse. And we got 17.8. And then number 12 used cosine. We got 30.6. Any questions on those? All right. Let's look at 13 and 14. So our goal is to find DE. But in order to find another side in a triangle, I have to have at least one side and one angle. So in this bottom triangle, I don't have another side. So I'm going to have to look at the top triangle and find DF first. Because that's a side, I can find that one, and then I can use that to help me find DE. So if you want to redraw the triangle to get them separate, you can. So 61, 24, and this would be my X. So that one is going to use tangent. So I'm not using my hypotenuse. There's nothing there. So tangent of 61 equals opposite over adjacent. And then when I cross multiply, we get x equals 24 tangent of 61. Which is 43. Now, because we're going to be using this measurement again, it's better if we go a few extra decimal points, because the more we round, the more off our answer really gets. So let's go to 0.297 instead of just 0.3. And then we can find DE. So this top is that 43.297. So this one also uses tangent. So tangent of 19 equals O over A. So X over 43.297. And then we cross multiply. So 43. Now you probably have the 43.297 in your calculator. So to make it even more accurate, instead of retyping, just put times, and it'll take your answer from above. So answer times tangent of 19. And we get 14.9. Number 14 is asking for the measure of angle W. But in order to find an angle, I need two sides. So we're ultimately going to have to find this side. So I'm going to have to use this other triangle first to find that side. So here's my angle. This would be H and O. So that would be sine of 25 equals 15 over x. So I'm finding this side right here, xz. And then we cross multiply, we get 15 equals x sine of 25. And then if we divide both sides by sine of 25, we get x equals 35.493. Now, once I'm back on the other triangle, this is no longer a hypotenuse. My hypotenuse is over here now. This is my O and my A. So, not using H at all. So, O and A, that's tangent. So, tangent of X equals O over A. So, that was 35.493 over 22. And then remember with the angles, we do tangent inverse. And we get 58.2 degrees. We're almost done. So 15 and 16 are word problems. You need to sketch out a picture. Doesn't have to be a detailed, perfect picture, but just something to get the idea. So ladder leaning against a wall. So I told you we would see this one a lot. So here's my wall, my house. And I'm going to draw on the ladder. Here's my ladder. And here's the ground. All right. So that ladder makes an angle of 75 degrees with the ground. So 75 degrees down there. So if the foot of the ladder, that's the bottom, is 6 feet from the base of the wall, that's down there, what is the length of the ladder? So my X would be there, the length of the ladder. That's a 90 degree. So we would be using, across from the 90 is the H. Across from that is O, but I don't have anything there. And then that's my A. So we're using cosine. A and H is cosine. So cosine of 75 is 6 over X. When we cross multiply, we get 6 equals X cosine of 75. And then to get X by itself, we need to take 6 divided by cosine of 75. And you get 23.2. All right, last one. Jaden is flying a kite. So just sketch out Okay, you got a string and you got a kite, right? It's 275 feet of string. So the string is 275 feet. The kite is 150 feet off of the ground. What angle does the string make with the ground? So here's my 90. So this one would be using H and O. That's sine. Sine is O over H, so 150 over 275. Now we're missing an angle, so that's where we use the inverse. And you get 33.1 degrees.